Michelle and I had the good fortune to spend quite a bit of time with Mark and Melissa since she was first elected as Speaker in 2019. She was funny and engaging and incredibly smart, and I will miss seeing her at NCSL.
Increased security at the state capitol, the assembly meeting Wednesday. The Senate Sergeant at Arms also announcing enhanced operations in that chamber following the shootings of 2 Minnesota lawmakers and their spouses. The names of about a dozen Wisconsin lawmakers, including Senator Tammy Baldwin and Congressman Mark Pocan, appearing on lists compiled by the suspect, Vance Belter.
With that, let's bring in State Senator Chris Kapenka. Senator, good to see you. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start with these threats. We saw the increased security in the assembly on Wednesday. I'm curious just your broad reaction from what we saw in Minnesota last weekend, the fact that this happened, and then, of course, there were these dozen or so Wisconsin lawmakers on this list of the suspects.
Yeah, there's a couple of things. So the security concern, I've been raising that for about the last 4 years. And actually, when I was in the president's spot in the Senate, we researched security systems. We had one picked out, but we just couldn't get enough support within the legislature to get that put in place. And I've been to capitals all over the country. There's not one capital I've been in that we haven't had to go through intense security screenings.
You mentioned your time as Senate President. Back in 2023, you pushed for more security after a man was arrested trying to get a handgun into the Capitol. See Governor Evers. You say that didn't go anywhere because of support. Where does that stand now? Are you still having those conversations?
Yeah, I think this will obviously help. I wish it wasn't something we had to have happen, but I actually said that. I'm like, what is it going to take for us to get serious about security? It's probably going to take somebody getting hurt. And now we've got neighbors where the Speaker and her spouse, and then the senator who didn't lose his life, thankfully. Those drastic actions, I think that's what we unfortunately needed for people to start taking this seriously, that this is a viable threat to people in the public. We went to the Brewers game last week. I couldn't get in without having security. This is much more high risk than a Brewers game, and I think it's a good idea for the Brewers game, so we need to take it seriously.
Do you want metal detectors at the front entrances?
Yeah, I have not been through another capitol that has not had a metal detectors, and it's going beyond that at this point. There are systems out there, and we learned this when we researched them, that will actually detect any type of weapon or dangerous object. So it's far beyond metal detectors, but it's gone now because we need to have a higher level of security just because of, unfortunately, ingenuity out there with how you can hurt people.
Do you also want guns prohibited from inside the Capitol or on the floor?
Yes. What Indiana, for instance, it's a great example that I bring up a lot, is that Indiana is extremely conservative and pro personal protection. They allow legislators to carry into the building for protection, which I always do. I always have been armed to protect myself, especially when I'm up in the front in the president's spot. That was, I just felt it was very important. But the general public, they don't need to have their weapons in the people's house. In the people's house, it's their representatives who are elected. That's the voice of the people. And I need to be protected as a public servant, and so does everybody else who's been elected into that spot. We should not be worrying about our lives walking into that building.
So you still want lawmakers to be able to carry inside and on the floor?
Absolutely.
All right, let's talk about the state budget. The Budget Committee, the Joint Finance Committee, continuing their work, Republican-led. You outlined your opposition this past week in a post on social media to the Republican bill. First, I'm curious what the reaction has been.
Well, the reaction from the public has been overwhelmingly supportive. Back in the 50s, the legislature actually passed legislation that said, if we don't get to a new budget, we will just have the budget carry over from the last session. That way we don't have the problems that Washington has where they have to keep doing these bills. We literally can let the budget pass over, and then there's a cost to continue provision, which essentially says if there's funding that needs to be made for programs that are required, then we have to give that funding. So that's a very easy option, and I think it's the most sensible option right now in light of both concerns about spending, but also just with the veto power that the governor has and how he has used that.
So you're no vote as we sit here today?
I'm not a no vote yet. I'm still waiting. We don't have the budget finalized yet, but as I've said in my post, I'm very concerned at this point with all of the items we're exposed on. And also if you look at Washington, there was overwhelming support from the public on DOGE. And we don't have any reforms right now that are being proposed in the budget to look at wasteful spending. And for me, that's a big concern too, because I know it's there. we all know it's there, and we need to be responsible and start digging into that at the state level as well.
I was going to say, what would get you to a yes?
I don't know. That's hard to say. There are so many factors, like I said, that it would be hard to get to a yes. Probably most concerning back to the veto pen, just because I don't know what he could turn that into.
Are you going to need Democratic votes for a budget to pass out of the Senate?
As of right now, it looks like that may be the reality, but we'll just have to see.
You know that your vote is significant, though, given the margins.
Absolutely.
And you did this now because you wanted it out there? In
I
terms
wanted
of
to
the
make sure
timing.
that the public knew what I was thinking, because right now we're a week and a half out from when we're supposed to be passing it, and there's a lot of my constituents who I work for them who are saying, hey, what's going on? Where are we at? So I wanted people to know this is where I'm at, this is what I'm thinking, just so you understand, I work for you, so I'm going to let you know what I'm thinking.
Fast-moving state budget. State Senator Chris Kapica, Senator, like always, thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks.
Up next, the nation's mayors meeting this weekend, including Milwaukee Mayor Cavalier Johnson. He joins us from the U.S. Conference of Mayors in Tampa. Up next.